Hey, welcome back. I hope I didn't scare you guys off with all that legalese in the contract documents. Again, is kind of trying to get a general sense of what an architect does and where you fit in with the project team. I also think it's important for you guys to have a little bit of background information on what a contract looks like. So who hires you? It could be an owner, it could be a contractor. So the owner would be the design, bid, build. If it was a design build, you and the contractor are working together. And I think it also really should help you understand the benefits and maybe the drawbacks of working with a contractor at a specific point. So hopefully that helps. Regardless of what type of contract it was, now we're to a point where we have a construction document set. Or a contract set. So these are contract documents, part of the contract, not the entire contract, but part. And remember, we've got this plan set, and in just a week or so, we're going to be spending the rest of the semester agonizing over every little detail in here. But before we jump into the plans, this is a perfect time to start talking about these specifications. So the specs are part of your contract documents. They're part of your construction drawings. And they're meant to complement your plan. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this project. It's super glary. Let me do it kind of from the side. But this is Liberty Boulevard, and it's a condo complex just over in the Trolley Square area. So big intersection, 4th South, 7th East. You can't miss it. So in this particular project and any project, you will also have a specification manual that goes through all of the details of the project. So for example, in just about every plan that you guys will work on, there will be doors that you have to draw. And there will be details about the doors that just won't fit on the plans because you can't write everything out in paragraph form. So in your specifications, what has happened is there is the professional organization, CSI, or the Construction Specification Institute. What they have done is they have organized basically anything you can put into a project by different divisions. I'm not going to go over all of them now because there will be a website for you guys to look at and read through all of the different divisions. But for example, Division 8 is known as, let me get to Division 8. Division 8 is openings. Quick side note about these divisions and all these contract documents. If you are pursuing the path to licensure, to become a licensed architect, these are things that are on your examination. So I just took an exam on Sunday. I was asked about contracts, contract types, and also specification divisions. So I think that being exposed to them this early in your career will be so helpful, and I wish that somebody had done the same for me. So before you know it, you'll be sitting for a licensing exam. Please remember this first class that we talked about these different divisions. So Division 8 openings goes through lots of different sections. So I've got hollow metal doors. I've also got glazed aluminum curtain walls, door hardware, and even glazing. So when I go to Section 8, the types of things that they cover in the specs that can't be in the drawing is each specification has something called a general section. That's always at the beginning. That's part 1. And it just goes through, what that section is about. So this is about overhead coiling doors. So this section includes service doors. Part 2, so your specification always has 3 parts. So part 1 is general. Part 2 is products. So the products could be specific products. Like you could say that it has to be from the overhead door company. Or if it's locks, you might say it has to be like a Schlag lock or a Best lock, something like that. And it really goes through what the product is. Or you could just say it has to be metal and it has to withstand these standards. And then the last part is the execution. So the execution is how it's actually installed. So again, this is part of the contract. So even the contractor is bound to this. So in the execution, it talks about how the area should be prepped before and after installation, how you want it installed, like to what standard. So here, let's see what they say. So install overhead coiling doors and operating equipment complete with necessary hardware, anchors, inserts, hangers, and equipment supports, according to manufacturer's written instructions as specified. So, I mean, that's a really nice way of doing what we refer to in the industry as a CYA clause, or cover your rear end clause. Basically, as an architect, in the execution, if you say this is how you have to install it and it falls from the ceiling, you can go to the spec and say, hey, contractor, it says right here you were supposed to do it this way, and this way. It isn't our fault that it fell because we told you to do it this way. And it makes you wonder, like, okay, what happened in the past? I mean, did a contractor really install something so incorrectly and they were like, sorry, on your drawings, you didn't tell me to anchor it correctly, and that's why it fell. So a lot more legalese, and all of this is to cover our behinds. So again, part of your assignment this week, I'm going to give you guys a link, my Italian accent or something. I'm going to give you guys a link to a website, the CSI website, that goes through all of the different specification sections. And I hope your mind will be blown by all of like the minute details that you have to think about as an architect. And then in addition to that, I'm going to give you guys another website where you can go and look at different products depending on their spec section that you can actually pull into your Revit model. So if you guys have taken Revit, great, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I hope you take Revit in the future. But don't be afraid to kind of go on to other websites. You know, Google is our friend. See what other types of things that you can look up. I'm trying to find maybe some obscure product that you didn't even think that somebody would specify in a project. I mean, I've seen it all. I've seen like even the hand dryers that you guys see, there's specifications for that, like Dyson hand dryers, soap dispensers. Okay, those aren't very random, but there's some really specific stuff out there. So that specifications, again, they're meant to complement your drawings. We will come back to this, and eventually I will want you guys to memorize the specification sections. So in a couple weeks, I want you guys to memorize at least divisions 1 through, I know it's going to sound like a lot, but divisions 1 through 14 is what I want to start with. And again, I know it sounds crazy, but you're in this class. It means you want to be in the field. These are things that you have to know. So we're going to come back in just a minute and talk about the National CAD standard as well.